Chaplain Dillard initiates creating and posting these videos. Their contents and YouTube's linked videos do not necessarily reflect specific beliefs, practices, requirements, or endorsements of the Department of Defense, its subordinate organizations, or other groups with which Chaplain Dillard is affiliated.
Welcome back. This is the second and final iteration of strategies for building trust. If you haven't seen the first 5, I encourage you to watch those first 5 strategies, one video. This is the last in this short series, and we'll pick up where we left off. Individual teams also need to develop their own priorities. What can they delegate? What can they delay? What can they drop? Because it's not that important, or it's not part of their job. If we don't know when to say no, or when to say not yet, or when to say not in this way, then we'll be pulled in every different direction. So again, whether you're talking about your family, your work team, or a social group, it's helpful to prioritize what is most important. Are we developing a product here? What is that product that's different from another team's product? Are we building greater trust, greater intimacy, greater commitment? What are the values that we most need to work on, and have it as a decrement list? So if you run out of time or money or energy, you can start cutting things at the bottom. Well, we can delay this, we can drop that, we can delegate that, but we have to do these 3 or 4 things. All teams need to schedule and honor regular informal dialogue. Let me say that again. Schedule and honor regular informal dialogue. That is the leaders and the workers sitting down together more as equals to talk and listen to each other. Not a monologue of one telling the other what to do, which is the leaders telling the workers, or a monologue of complaint, the workers talking to the leaders. It needs to be a real dialogue of respect and hearing, so that they're both learning from each other. That needs to be on a fairly regular basis. It's a lot like land navigation in the military. If we know that we are here and we want to go there, we've got to have checkpoints throughout the middle where we sit down and we take a look around. Are we getting there? Are we off track? My point man, the guy who's leading the way, is he going in the right direction? My pace man, who's measuring the distance there, the guy who's providing rear security or checking to see what's going on back there. Are we all doing our jobs, and are we helping each other? And that needs to be regular, not once a year, not as we feel comfortable. Because if I'm an introvert, I may never do it. If you're an extrovert, you may do it every day, and that may be too much for the team. So whatever is helpful to really hearing from top to bottom and bottom to top what needs to be going on in the group to enable success and movement forward. Here's another one. Publicly recognize all good leadership in detail. And I'm not just talking about function of workers, but I'm talking about leadership. So if my teenager does something in an aspect of leadership that is helpful to his sister, he takes initiative, he takes care of her, he enables her success. That's leadership. Now, why do I say regularly reward leadership? Because often in virtually every organization, we recognize and reward function. But function kind of maintains the status quo. Leadership is enabling genuine forward movement towards success. And leadership can cover many of those functions, but we need to be more intentional, because function can focus on one person. Leadership always focuses on a team, how it impacts other people. So that's a greater return for your investment. Discipline, on the other hand, should be addressed in detail, but privately, so we don't embarrass a person, so it's not counterproductive. However, you might consider publicly noting or posting matters of discipline, as long as it respects the individual's privacy and genuinely builds trust and teamwork with the group. For example, let's say you're in a large organization and you've got somebody who's been a malingerer. They typically do as little as possible to get as much as possible. You might say to the group all the things they're doing well, and say, I had to pull somebody in last week and talk to them about some repeated behaviors that are counterproductive to our team. And I wrote a letter that went in their official file. If it happens again, it's going to go beyond this organization. Now, you didn't identify what the behavior was, didn't identify any of the team, didn't identify anything that could say who they are. And they might be looking around, but they know that you did something, and they know what the next step is if that infraction happens again. So that's enough to say, hey, when our leader says there's going to be consequences for bad behavior, he or she's really going to do something about it. And going back to the point on rewards, when things are done well, those are going to be recognized too. Lastly, this is kind of a catch-all. Anything that we really require, we need to inspect. That inspection can be formal or informal. It means we need to look into it. If I tell my kids to clean their room, I never go look at their room. Are they going to clean their room? No, they're not. If I tell people that I need a report from our team going to another agency, and I never check to see if that report goes to the right person on time, what are the chances that occasionally they won't send it on time, or may send it to the wrong person, or any number of things. So we need to inspect what we require, because what we inspect is what they will respect and expect. And we do that in order to reward success, in order to train shortcomings, and to discipline failures, especially if it's a repeated failure, and knowingly so. So those are some specific strategies for virtually any group that can build trust. And again, it really is all about the foundation of trust, because when people see that they are valued, that you care for them, that you mean what you say, and you want to not just have the team succeed, whether that's a baseball team or a family or a section at work, but you care about the individuals as well. You care about them as people so that you grow. They'll work more for you. They'll enjoy being part of the family. They'll want to play ball for you. They'll want to come to work because it's a place where they feel valued and they trust their leaders. Hope those are helpful to you, and I will see you next time.
At the release date of this video, I am stationed with Research, Development, and Engineering Command, RDECOM, at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. Because the majority of our personnel are in this area, I spend most of my time here. I do, however, travel to our distant units based on command priorities and budget. I place these videos on YouTube for broad visibility to Army personnel and their families, but I hope the videos will be helpful to others too. If you are assigned to RDECOM and want to request specific topics by video, training on site or by VTC, or confidential counseling on site or by secure webcam, you can contact me at jeffrey.d.dillard.mil@mail.mil.